Hi, this is Matt Clark, and in this video, we're going to talk about account reviews and suspensions. Hopefully you never have to deal with this, but it does pop up, especially reviews. And if your account ever does get suspended, you need to know what you can do because the opportunity in Amazon is absolutely huge, and you don't want to necessarily just throw in the towel and give up because your account gets suspended. There are ways to get around it, and there are ways to get back up and running, and that's what I'm going to show you how to do. So first off, what is an account review? Amazon manually reviews your account for unwanted activity. So basically, if your customer metrics drop, or if customers are complaining, any A to Z guarantees, that sort of thing can throw your account into review. So the majority of Amazon selling is obviously automated. That's how they're able to sell millions and millions of products. But if they think you're doing something that they don't want you to be doing, they'll throw your account into a manual review, where actually one of their staff members is actually looking at the activity in your account by hand and will sort of make a determination of whether or not you're doing stuff that they like, and whether or not they want to keep you on as a seller. Account reviews are temporary. They usually don't last for more than a week. Basically, your selling privileges are sometimes withheld, meaning you basically won't be listed for any more products. All the products will stay in your account and that sort of thing. You just won't be listed as a seller for that period of time. You won't be able to add any new products and that kind of thing. And some of this changes. It's not always your selling privileges are revoked. It's just sort of depends on the situation. Sometimes there's a release of funds is usually withheld. This sort of seems to be a standard Amazon practice, meaning that if you're doing something that they think they may not like, then they won't pay you. So if your account goes into review, which coincidentally, sometimes this happens right before you're about to get paid, which is kind of strange, but that seems to be the case. So right before one of those 14-day marks, on the 13th day, Amazon will be like, oh, we're reviewing your account. So then, you don't get paid that period, and then Amazon doesn't just pay you right after your review is done. They'll pay you at the next payment period every 14 days. So you have to wait, an extra period of time. So you want to make sure you keep some cash balance on hand and that sort of thing, and just in case this does happen. So how to avoid an account review? Because, if at all possible, you want to avoid this happening at all. You want to be able to enter tracking numbers if possible. With Kindle books, this doesn't apply, obviously, but if you're selling any sort of physical products, do your best to work with vendors to get tracking numbers. Because at least, if nothing else, if Amazon sees that you're putting tracking numbers in for all the orders, they're pretty confident that you're actually sending them out. And that's mainly what they're concerned with, is if somebody buys something from you, do they get what they're ordered in a timely fashion? That's basically what they're concerned with. So putting tracking numbers in is most of the time all it takes to avoid going in review. Take it easy in the first 28 days. It's said that in the first 28 days your account is sort of on a short leash. Now I don't know if that day number is actually completely accurate, but I do know that at the beginning your account is definitely under a shorter leash. We ran into all kinds of problems at the beginning of when we first started selling on Amazon in that short period of time, for a month or two. And then after that, once we've been going for a while, we were still messing some things up because I was being very aggressive with our account. And we didn't have any problems then. It only occurred in the beginning until later on, I guess. And then don't list products you can't reliably fulfill. This is extremely important if you're working with a drop shipper or a wholesaling company that's shipping stuff for you, or if you're shipping stuff yourself and you're not very good at managing inventory. That can make you run into problems because you won't be shipping stuff on time, products won't go out, you have to cancel orders, and if you cancel an order for whatever reason, even if the buyer wants to cancel it, that can cause problems for you. So you want to make sure you're only listing products you can reliably fulfill. Be responsive to customer emails. If customers send you a message asking for something, even if it's something you don't know the answer to, respond with something. Tell them you don't know. If it's a question about a product and that kind of thing, tell them you don't know. Give them some resources. Obviously, if they ask you about their package or shipping information or say they got the wrong thing, you want to do whatever you can to help them. Because Amazon basically has a business to run, and they're sort of lending their credibility to you. And if you do something that makes them look bad, they're not going to be happy about it. So treat their customers well, basically. Ask customers for seller reviews. Amazon actually recommends you do this. If your account goes into review, that's one of the recommendations they'll make, is that you go back and ask customers for reviews of your seller account, of you as a seller. The reason this is because especially at the beginning where you don't have very many, that if you only have a couple reviews and one person, for whatever reason, just because they're crazy or you actually did mess something up, decides to give you a bad review, then your overall rating is extremely low just because you don't have that many to begin with. So at the beginning, it's extremely important to get as many good positive seller reviews of your account as possible. So what to do if your account is under review? Amazon will provide you some instructions, but most importantly, you're going to want to provide tracking numbers for orders that were shipped if you haven't already entered them, because this lets Amazon know that you actually did ship those orders out. You ask customers for reviews, sort of like what I just mentioned. You go get a bunch of people to, the people that have ordered from you before, just send them a message within Amazon saying, hey, would you mind giving us a seller review? We hope we did everything we could to sort of help you out. If there's anything else you need, please let us know. So getting reviews from them is very helpful. Provide Amazon business and personal information if requested. Sometimes they'll ask for a copy of your driver's license or business license or those kind of things that you've already entered whenever you set up your Amazon account. But if they're questioning those for whatever reason, sometimes they'll just want you to provide those. Or if they think your account is being linked to a suspended or blocked account, sometimes they'll want to know, get some personal information to make sure that's not the case. You want to be responsive to Amazon's email requests. The fastest ways to get out of under review is basically provide all the information you possibly can to Amazon as fast as possible, and just tell them in length that we're doing everything we're supposed to do, everything is good, please stop reviewing our account, let us continue selling on Amazon. Be prepared to provide a source of inventory. This is one question they asked at one point when our account was under review. Because when we first started selling, I a little bit clueless. And basically, I put that we had, because I knew we were drop shipping products, and we basically had unlimited inventory because we were shipping them directly from the manufacturer, and they were making the same products for years, so it's not like they were going to run out. And we could basically ship as many as we wanted. So I put that we had 20,000 of each product in inventory. This looked a little suspicious to Amazon. I recommend that you only, put somewhere between 500 and 1,000 and just update it if you sell out of all of those. I just did this so we didn't have to ever update it, but this looked a little suspicious to them, so I just told them, yeah, we're ordering directly from the manufacturer and they ship it out to the customers, so we could basically have unlimited inventory, and they were fine with this. They didn't make me change it or anything like that. They were perfectly fine with that, so drop shipping is okay. So what is an account suspension? Now this is actually permanent. This is what you do not want to happen. Amazon will revoke your selling privileges. Your account has been blocked. You basically cannot add products. You cannot sell products. You can't do anything other than ship stuff out and contact customers. That's basically it. So this is not a good situation. Your funds are held for 90 days. This is also not good, and I say adios to this seller account. Your seller account is basically done. You can't do anything else with this account. You might as well kiss it goodbye. You can still log in and check stuff if you ever need to find out what products you had listed or if you ever need to find anything else out. But this account is pretty much gone. So this is not a good situation to be in, but there are ways to get around it and get out of it. How to avoid an account suspension. There's another deal, kind of like the review. If at all possible, you want to avoid this situation because it's not good, and even though there are ways to get back up and selling, it's still a pain in the butt, and there still will be a short period of time anyways where you're not generating any sales because you're having to get another account running and that sort of thing. So you want to avoid this if at all possible. First off, follow their product policies. Don't add products they don't want to be selling. We'll provide a resource in this module, but basically, typical products that you don't want, that nobody wants selling, tobacco products, fireworks, pornography, and that kind of stuff, like, basic stuff that Amazon does not want to be sold there. And if there's anything you have a question about, you can email them or call them just within your seller administration area and ask them, hey, is this product okay? And then, if they say that it is, get that person's name and write it down and write down the date and that sort of thing. So if your account ever does go under review and they don't like a product, then you can send them a message saying, hey, this person told me it was okay. So I'm not saying that's going to be, it's going to save your account, but at least it provides you a little more leverage and a little more credibility that you're not just adding crap trying to sell it, even though it's against their policies. Another thing is treat their customers well. Goes along with the same stuff as account review. Watch your customer metrics. Don't get a bunch of A to Z guarantees. Don't get a bunch of refunds. Just basic stuff. Most of that stuff does not happen if somebody's able to order something from you and they get it within, a relatively short period of time, like, typical shipping time within 7 days, basically. If they're able to order whatever they want, they get exactly what they expect. If you have very misleading pictures or misleading product descriptions and they think they're getting something else, that can also lead to problems. So just typical customer service. If somebody orders something, you ship it out on time and correctly, and you give them exactly what they think they're going to get. Don't try to run multiple seller accounts, and I have a ... after this, because everything you're learning in this video will teach you how to run a multiple seller account. In the next few little sections of this presentation, you'll see basically everything you need to do is set up a new account which is not linked to your old account. That same stuff can be done to run multiple seller accounts. Now, this is probably the first thing and number one thing that Amazon does not want you doing. Same reason Google doesn't want you taking up multiple spots in AdWords in their PPC engine, because they want diversity and they don't want people, if one account is doing something they don't want, then they don't want 7 accounts from the same person doing something they don't want and really screwing things up for them. They want to protect their customers and customer experience, and one way of doing that is to allow people to only run one account. Now, it has been said that if you have very distinct product lines, say for example if you have 2 separate businesses, one sells supplements and one is a book publisher, you're actually able to contact Amazon through your Seller Central and say, hey, we want to set up a separate account to be able to handle this book stuff. It's a completely separate business, but it might be accessed from the same IP address, and they may or may not let you do that, but you definitely, if you're going to try to do this that way and you're not going to be careful about not crossing lines between the 2 accounts, then you can email them and ask them that and let them know, hey, we might be logging in from the same computer, same IP addresses. Please, you can link these accounts together, but please do not flag them or suspend them. So that can work, and you definitely have to sell. And the only reason they'll let you do that is if you're selling completely different products. So you can't have the same product or even the same product lines, probably not even selling in the same categories between the 2 accounts, but it can be possible depending on your business model. Next thing, if they tell you to stop doing something, stop doing this. We learned this firsthand. Even though it was a little unclear, we had a decent idea that they didn't want us doing something, but we just sort of kept doing it because it was making so much money, and this is not good. So if you do this, if they tell you to stop doing something, a lot of times they'll give you sort of a little bit of a leeway. If you do it the first time, they'll be like, hey, don't do this, don't add this product again, that kind of thing. And if they do that, don't try to do it again, don't try to be sneaky, just don't do it and move on. There's plenty of opportunities in Amazon, and you've learned just about a lot of different ways you can profit using Amazon, and it's worth keeping your account up and running and not having to go through the pain in the butt process of starting all over again. So if they tell you to stop doing something, just stop doing it. As common sense as that seems, sometimes it gets very tempting, especially when you know how to promote products on Amazon, how tempting it is to sort of go after the low-hanging fruit, which is the money that's sort of waving in front of your face. But whatever you can do, just move on and find a different product or solve whatever issue it is that they have a problem with. So what to do if your account gets suspended? First thing you want to try to do, even though they'll try not to tell you this, is learn why your account was suspended. If you don't know, sometimes they don't tell you and sometimes it's very unclear. Call them and ask them, email them and say, hey, why did this account get suspended? Was it a product issue? Was it something else? So first thing to do is learn why your account was suspended, and so you know what not to do next time. When you're setting up a new account, you don't want to make the same issue twice, same problem twice. So learn why your account was suspended and don't do it again. Next thing, prepare to not have access to your remaining balance for 90 days. This is a very sucky part of getting an account suspended. It's in the documentation that you basically agreed to whenever you set up a seller account that they can hold your balance for 90 days. They do this, they say, in case you're doing something like not fulfilling products, if somebody was to create an Amazon account, list everything under the sun, take in a bunch of cash, Amazon actually deposits some of their money, and this person is making money, basically cheating people out of money, cheating their customers out of money by selling stuff that they're not really fulfilling. What Amazon tries to protect is that if you're doing that and they think you're doing something like that, then they'll hold your balance for 90 days to account for customers asking for refunds. Now, in reality, if you're not doing anything completely shady and they end up suspending your account, all those refunds are going to happen within the first 30 days. So they're basically just holding it for the next 60 days just for their own sort of fun, basically. But it's not good, but you have agreed to this, so there's nothing you can really do about it. And it's not going to do much good to go try to take Amazon to court. They obviously have quite a bit of money and quite a few lawyers, so your balance is held for 90 days. So you want to try to make sure you maintain some cash balance and not be completely independent on this money in case this happens. Write down a list of all computers and internet connections that you use to access your suspended seller account, so that when you're setting up a new account, you know to never access it from any of those computers and any of those internet connections. You're going to want to keep a list of these to make sure that you don't do this, so your new account is not flagged as being linked to this account. Prepare for Amazon Seller Revival. So this is where things get a little fun, and we'll go into that here in a second. So how Amazon links accounts. First thing is IP address. This is basically whatever internet connection, whether it's your home connection or your, if you've worked from Starbucks or that kind of thing, whatever you use to basically access this account. If you use outsourcers, it's going to be their IP addresses. That sort of stuff is linked to your seller account, to where if you start creating a new seller account and you access it from the same IP address, your account can be flagged as being linked. Now, sometimes this is a legitimate thing, because if multiple people are running seller accounts and accessing it from their public library, for example, sometimes this, that's a legitimate reason why a blocked account, if somebody's just doing something shady or whatever and their account gets blocked, and somebody else is doing something legitimate and just trying to run a business and their internet is out one day and they go to the library to access it, that can be a legitimate reason why the same IP address would be accessed by two different accounts. But at all possible, you just want to fly under the radar. So just, if at all possible, just list down all IP addresses and never use that to access your new account. MAC address, this is the reason I have a question mark here, because I've asked a couple people that I know that are very sort of technologically savvy and that kind of thing. They actually write software programs and that kind of thing. And I've heard two different answers. Your MAC address is actually like the sort of it's basically like a code that's tied to the physical device you use to connect to the internet. So if you're using like your home router, your router is going to have a MAC address. Now, some people say that Amazon cannot actually track that, and some people say that Amazon can. What I say is just be safe and basically don't ever use the same computer, same router, same anything to access your new seller account. Use all completely different stuff just to be safe. Cookies. When you visit Amazon, log into your seller account, even when you open emails from them, sometimes they'll install cookies on your browser and that sort of thing, and you want to make sure that all that is cleared out, and the best way to do that is to never access it from the same computer, and don't ever open even emails from them from the same computer or IP address. Even if it's a new account, don't open emails from them from the same account or IP address. You want to keep it all completely separate and contained. They also link accounts through personal account details, such as your billing information, whether that's your PO box address, physical address, your credit card information, bank accounts. Obviously, if you're using the same bank account to deposit their funds from your old account to your new account, that's not going to work out. Your name, two people have the same name, but like I said, you want to fly under the radar and not have that be the case. And the products you listed. If you have 10 specific products that not that many other people are selling, and that's all you sold in your old account, you list those same exact products in your new account, and that's obviously going to look suspicious, and that's one way, that sort of pattern is one way Amazon will link your old account to your new account if you're not careful. And lastly, if you try to create a new account without being 100% careful, not taking into account all these things above, your new account will be immediately flagged and suspended. You'll get a message or an email that says this account has been deemed to be associated with a blocked or suspended account. All your crap is revoked and your new account is pretty much screwed. So you want to make sure that you're 100% careful, or else that will happen. So Amazon Seller Revival. This is basically how to get up and selling again. And like I said, if you really want to, I don't necessarily recommend it, but this can also be used to basically run multiple seller accounts, selling the same exact products and taking up more spots on Amazon. So this is something you can think about, but most importantly, what this is used for is if you get kicked off and you want to keep selling on Amazon, this is how you can get back up and running. It's a little bit of a pain in the butt, but if you're 100% careful, it's not that big of a problem. First off, new internet connection. Like I said, don't access it from your home computer and home internet connection. If you used that before, any sort of public internet connections, whether that be a coffee shop or a library and that kind of thing. New computer or device to connect. I put device to connect because if you want to run it from a new iPad or iPhone or whatever phone, you can basically do that because it's going to be a completely different computer. So you're going to want a new computer. If you want to do it from a regular computer, basically what you can do is just buy an $80 used laptop and you're good to go. And as far as internet connection, you can basically, if you can access it from different public internet connections if you want, or you can use basically a USB modem, which is basically just a little thing you plug into your USB port. You can buy at Target or Walmart or just about anywhere, even from Verizon and that kind of thing. And it's going to have its own different IP address and that kind of thing. You can even get one from Virgin Mobile that is about 70 or 80 bucks, and then you can basically do a prepay. You could pay 10 bucks at a time or 50 bucks a month for unlimited, basically whatever you want. Use it only as needed, so that's probably the cheapest way to do it. Verizon and whatnot will make you sign like a year, 2-year agreement to get any sort of decent price. So the Virgin Mobile one is the one I recommend anyways. You can buy that at Target. New credit card, you're going to want to use a different credit card and a different business entity. So if you had one business set up with your old one, if you're making thousands and thousands of dollars on Amazon, your account gets suspended, it's worth the 300 bucks or whatever it costs in your state to set up a new business and get a new credit card and that kind of thing, because this is how you make a living, and it's definitely worth it. And just don't make the same mistake again, and everything will be good. So new personal information, if possible, you're going to want to do this under a different name. So a different, ideally, you can do it under like a family member, or a friend, or whatever, and basically have that credit card, linked to them. Or you can try, this doesn't always work, but you can try using a prepaid credit card, because basically the only reason you have a credit card with your Amazon account is that if you're not making enough money, Amazon will charge your $40 a month charge to that credit card. So you can basically, you'll just need it to verify your account, but once you get set up and running, once you start selling again, and you're making at least 40 bucks a month, you should never need that credit card again. New personal information, like I said, different address. You can either use a P.O. box, you can use the physical address of a P.O. box, rather than just using a P.O. box address. You can use all kinds of different addresses, friends, family member, whatever you want. You pretty much won't need this address, except for maybe returns. If you're getting products returned, if you're selling physical products, you're going to want an address where you can actually receive returns. So that's a good thing you'll need. New bank account under a different name. Now, it's said that Amazon cannot actually verify the name on a bank account. So you enter your bank account information, and they'll ask you the name on the bank account. Now, if you could actually have this bank account under your name, but Amazon won't actually be able to check. So you can just put a different name, you can put whatever name you want, John Smith or whatever, and Amazon won't actually be able to verify that it's not under John Smith's name. But like I said, to be 100% clear and not run any risk whatsoever, because getting this all set up again is kind of a pain in the butt, and you're starting back from scratch pretty much, even though you sort of know what to do and what products are working. If at all possible, do it under somebody else's name. Create some little sort of partnership deal with them. Maybe you can have them start running some of the operations, or you can just use their name, especially if they're a family member and that kind of thing. They probably will not care, depending on who it is. So if at all possible, keep things as clean as possible and don't use any of the information you had in your old account. So tips: never give anyone who doesn't need it access to your new seller account. So you don't ever want to give anyone access who might, especially somebody who lives in your area and might access it from another public computer that you've already used. Basically, you just want to keep things as contained as possible. You don't want to be awake at night, making 30 grand a month on Amazon and wondering whether or not it's going to shut off again any day. That's not a good way to live. And I recommend that just keep everything as contained as possible by giving people only giving people access who absolutely need it. Don't ever check any emails from your new account or from your old internet or computers. This goes along with the same thing as if you start accessing your account from a new computer or new internet connection, your new account. Don't ever check any of your old Amazon emails from that new account or new computer. So that's a good thing to note. And another good way you can do this, you can basically outsource the whole operation and have them send you text message updates, not emails. So this will avoid the whole emails being tracked thing. If you're able to outsource the whole operation, once you're already up and running, you know how to run an Amazon account, and especially if you're drop shipping products or just selling Kindle books and that kind of thing, you can pretty much have an outsourcer just check your Amazon emails, a new outsourcer, not one you've used before. You can hire them for $3 or $4 on Elance or Odesk, and basically have them just check your account emails and have them, watch your seller account for any sort of customer service issues and have them process orders. And if there's any issues, or you can just have them send you a daily update of number of orders and that kind of thing, and they can just send you a text message update. There's sites out there that can basically, you can just look online for, text message online, and there'll be free sites out there that basically an outsourcer can just visit, not have to log in or anything like that, can actually visit and just send you a text message directly to your phone. And so this basically avoids them ever accidentally forwarding you an email from Amazon or anything like that. So it's a good way to do it, and this is basically how you start creating a new Amazon seller account.